Hey guys, and welcome back to another one. Now what I've got here in my hands today is a Android TV box based on the SOC RK3399. Now for those of you that recall the last experience that we had with a box with this particular SOC, it just sucked. It was a big disappointment, and for those of you that watch the video, you remember. For those of you that don't, I will leave a link down below so that you guys can compare these different boxes. Fortunately, these guys that built the R99 box know how to put hardware and firmware together. Now that being said, let's go straight for it. And this video is sponsored by NordVPN, a VPN service available for almost any platform with servers in 56 countries at an affordable price. Check out the link below for more details. And we are back. And although it's nothing huge, I'm really happy to see a manufacturer putting the RK3399 SOC, which is not an easy SOC but very powerful one with the solid firmware, which is the case of this one. Now if you ask me, hey Robert, is this box perfect? It's not. We will see in just a few moments that there is slight things that need to be fixed, but it's working great, especially when we compare to other boxes like the one that we have seen that really sucked. So let's start with the video, or the review to be more precise, and with a very quick unboxing experience so that you guys can just check a few seconds there. Nothing particular that I could mention. It's a simple box, everything is tight and neat, but nothing spectacular. Now moving to the design and build quality, what I can say in terms of design, I personally like it. It has this oval shape with this edge all around of a silver color. In terms of build quality, it is made of a metal lead, and you can listen that it's not a box that we will easily damage it. Now this metal lead will also help, and this is not on just this box but in every box that uses metal, will help to dissipate the heat from the SOC. So this is a 2-in-1 in terms of build quality and also in terms of heat dissipation, which is nice to see. Now in terms of connectivity, it's pretty much the usual, with the exception that this particular box already has USB Type-C connector. Now this connector will be used for data only, but nonetheless it's one of the first boxes that I've used here on the channel with this connector. Everything else, as you guys will see on screen, is pretty much the standard that we use. Now moving on to the launcher, you guys know that every single launcher that comes to my hands, I always use a different one, a clean one, and in this particular case they actually are using the Nova launcher. You guys will see on screen that once we boot the machine, we will have a few questions just to select in terms of graphical aspect what we prefer, and once we select those simple options on those menus, we will have the launcher itself, which is the Nova launcher. Now this launcher is not exclusive to this box, it's available on the Play Store. I've used it in the past, it's one of my favorite ones, so any of you guys that have this box or any other box will be able to download it. Nonetheless, I do believe that they made a great job, integrated this clean launcher so that we can use it, and as you guys can see by some images, we can customize it the way that we want, and you guys have seen me customizing my launchers a lot of times. So as you guys can see, just the clock, and then I've got the weather widget and also my favorite apps below. Now moving on to the specifications, as we've seen on the intro, it has the RK3399, which is quite a powerful SOC. We will also find 4 GB of RAM and 32 GB of flash storage, which has some really impressive speeds. And talking about speeds, guys, I'll give you a few seconds as usual just to watch a few benchmarks over there, starting with DRM, the CPU-Z, disk speed, and then the network speed test, and Geekbench, Antutu, and 3D Mark. I would like to mention two right over there, one of which is the disk speed test, which I was talking about, the flash storage, and we are talking about 157 megabytes per second second on reads and 105 megabytes per second on writes. So this makes this box one of the fastest ones that we have used here on the channel. And I'm talking about the NVIDIA Shield Minix U9H, Minix U1, which were the fastest one, and this one is now on that group, really fast. When we open an app, when we want to turn on the machine, we will feel it really fast. Now, one other thing that I would like to point out, and this one is on the low side, is the Wi-Fi speed, which is not bad, but I was expecting a little bit more. Having this box with great results, I wanted to have a great result as well on Wi-Fi, and that unfortunately didn't happen. So benchmarks aside, and before we talk about the real world performance, just a small note regarding the infrared remote control. Well, it's not infrared remote control, it's the USB wireless remote that comes included with a box, but in terms of function is more or less the same as an infrared remote, both performance, and although we can use it for the basic tasks, there is another option from the same manufacturer that I will share with you guys on screen if I haven't already. And this wireless remote is really interesting. Besides all the basic options, we also have the air mouse function, which is really useful if we want to use apps like Netflix and so on and so forth. But besides that, it has an interesting feature, and this is the first time that I'm reviewing a remote such as this one, which is the backlight function. And this is something that you guys sometimes ask, hey Robert, is there any remote with backlight function? Because I do use my remotes on the bedroom, and that is, this one is one of the options that you guys have from now on. It works great. It has some backlight that you can watch on your bedroom or on a living room in any dark environment. So it has a full keyboard on the back and then the usual buttons on the front. And my suggestion with all this said, as usual, is forget about any included infrared remote, just go for a wireless remote. And if it's this one that you prefer, it's a great remote with backlit and so on and so forth. If it's any other wireless remote, will be fine, but just don't stay with the original remote that comes with any box, not just this one, any box. And moving on from the remote control, in terms of the box itself, we will be able to run it in a resolution of 4K up to 30 Hz. In terms of Netflix, as expected, the maximum will be 480p or SD quality. In terms of YouTube, both apps, the mobile app and the TV app, will be able to run up to a resolution of 1080. And just have in mind, guys, that I'm using a 4K display for all my tests as usual, so this is a limitation in the app itself or in the firmware itself. Moving to my ISP IPTV service, it did just run fine. I didn't have any issues at all, as you guys can see on screen. Now, my next test is always about Cody. In this particular case, the box comes with a fork of Cody, which is the ABMC, based on Cody 17.5. And as you can see, guys, on screen, it will play everything except 10-bit 4K H.265 videos, which at this moment just refuses to run. Now, I could run everything else, and I will post an image on screen so that you guys are aware of the codecs and so on and so forth that I test. But what I can say is that everything is fluid with the exception of 10-bit videos. Now, I did remove the eBMC version, and I did install Cody latest version at this moment, 17.6. And what I can say is that the results are basically the same, which is good. Is good in one hand, because I do love to use Cody pure version, but in terms of firmware, it will need a tweak here and there so that we can watch 10-bit H.265 4K videos on this device, which is totally capable by the hardware, just needs some fixing on the firmware. Now, in terms of Plex, it did play everything fine. My library, which is composed by movies at 1080, Blu-ray movies in a MKV file with H.264 codecs, just played awesome with no issues at all. And then in terms of Skype, as you guys can see on screen, I was not able to do. The box recognizes the Logitech webcam, but it will not work with Skype. Now moving to the AirPlay using AirScreen, I had no issues at all in streaming my phones, tablets and even my MacBook Pro. As you guys can see there, transferring live slideshows on the fly to the box, which usually is what I do to my living room TV. And then in terms of gaming, I was a little bit concerned, as I was with everything else, but it did work great. I did try Respawnables, Asphalt 8 Airborne and Asphalt Extreme, which are 3 of the samples that I used to test out these boxes, and 3 out of 3 worked great. I had no issues like we had in the past with some machines that from these 3 games, one of them or 2 don't work. Here everything runs smooth. We feel that the box is powerful enough, we feel that the box is fast enough to deliver a great experience. And then lastly, moving to game streaming, the same results. As you guys can see over there on the screen, at a 1080 resolution with 60 frames per second, I was able to play games from my computer through GameStream, which we have covered here on the channel several times. And in terms of delay, I only had a delay of 13 milliseconds, which is great. I didn't feel any lags whatsoever. And you guys can see there the game Gas Guzzler, which is one of my favorites. Just awesome results. And I'm going to shut up, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way. And if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up. My name is Roberto Jorge, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.